For most of my life with Daniel, I believed he was the kind of man nothing could shake. He wasn't loud or dramatic, but there was a steady warmth about him, like a quiet river that ran deep. He had this calm way of grounding me, of making chaos feel manageable. For 10 years, he'd been my certainty.
That illusion shattered
I thought
one
we were
Friday
unbreakable.
night.
We were at a small dinner with close friends, the kind of gathering that felt easy and familiar. Wine glasses clinking, soft laughter, everyone teasing their partners in good fun. The conversation drifted toward relationships, and jokes started flying about who forgot chores, who snored, who never listened. Clara, our friend, laughed and said she sometimes wanted to trade her husband for someone who actually paid attention. Maybe it was the wine, or maybe I wanted to sound funny, but I grinned and said, "Maybe we should swap. You can take mine. At least then someone might remember an anniversary." The table went quiet for a heartbeat before filling with the kind of laughter that doesn't sound real. Awkward, polite, forced. I looked at Daniel, waiting for him to smirk or roll his eyes like he usually did when I teased him. But he didn't. His expression turned blank, the warmth gone from his face. Then, in a low voice, he said, "Maybe you should." The sound of forks on plates was suddenly too loud. My stomach dropped. I tried to play it off, forcing a smile. "Hey, I was joking," I said softly. But Daniel didn't respond. He just went back to his food, quiet and distant. The car ride home was unbearable. No music, no words, just the hum of the tires and the weight pressing between us. Usually Daniel would find something to say to break the tension, but that night he stayed silent. When we got home, I followed him inside and whispered, "Please don't be like this. It was just a joke." He looked at me for a long moment before saying, "People joke about what they really feel." Then he walked past me into the bedroom. I lay awake for hours replaying that line in my head. Maybe there was some truth buried in it. Lately, we'd both felt a little disconnected. The conversations shorter, the laughter rarer. Maybe I'd used humor to cover up what I didn't want to admit, that I was feeling neglected, or worse, unseen. The next few days were heavy with silence. Daniel wasn't angry exactly, just absent. He moved through the house like a ghost, polite but unreachable. On the fourth night, I stood in the doorway of his study and said quietly, "Please don't shut me out." It was a stupid thing to say. He looked up at me, his eyes tired. "It's not the words," he said. "It's that they didn't sound like a joke." That hit harder than I expected because deep down, I knew he was right. I didn't really want to trade him, but I had been holding resentment, counting his mistakes, forgetting his efforts, focusing on what was missing instead of what we still had. The next morning, he left early without a word. No kiss, no goodbye, just the sound of the front door closing. By afternoon, I texted him, "Can we talk tonight?" When he came home, he looked exhausted. Not angry, just worn out, like someone who'd been carrying too much for too long. Before I could speak, he said, "I've been thinking about what you said. It made me realize you've been comparing me to someone I can't be for a while now. You used to see me, all of me. Now it feels like you only see the things I get wrong." I wanted to argue, to explain, but my throat closed up because he was right again. He went on, voice calm but heavy. "You joke about trading me away, but it stopped being funny when I started feeling like you already had, emotionally. That broke me." I whispered, "I didn't mean it, Daniel, I swear." He nodded slowly. "I know, but it came from somewhere real. We've both stopped trying. We've both stopped showing up." We sat in silence. The clock ticked loud in the background. Finally, I asked, "Do you still love me?" He smiled faintly, sad, tired. "I do. But I also love myself enough to know when something isn't right anymore." That night, I cried at the kitchen table, my tea gone cold. His words echoed over and over in my mind, "When something isn't right anymore." The next week blurred by in numb silence. We moved around each other carefully, like strangers trying not to collide. One evening, I found him standing by the shelf, staring at our wedding photo. The one where we were laughing, wild and happy. I said softly, "Please, don't let one mistake end us." He shook his head gently. "It's not one mistake, Emma. It's all the things underneath it. The distance, the pretending, the way we stopped being kind." His tone wasn't angry. It was heartbreakingly calm. I reached for his hand. "Then let's stop pretending," I whispered. "Let's try again. No jokes, no walls." He didn't pull away. His thumb brushed my wrist softly. "I don't know if we can go back," he said, "but maybe we can go forward." That night we talked for hours, about everything we hadn't said. The loneliness, the missed moments, the quiet ways we'd both hurt each other. Nothing was magically fixed, but something shifted. For the first time in a long while, we were honest. In the weeks that followed, we began again, slowly. Evening walks, cooking together, laughing without bitterness. The warmth returned, not in grand gestures, but in small, sincere ones. Now, when we're with friends and someone makes a joke about marriage, I feel that familiar pang. I remember the silence that followed my careless words and what it cost us. Because Daniel's quiet that night taught me something I'll never forget. Humor can disguise hurt, but it can also deepen it. Words meant to amuse can cut deeper than anger ever could. So these days, when Daniel forgets something or slips up, I don't reach for sarcasm. I reach for his hand instead. Because I've learned love isn't sustained by teasing or jokes. It's kept alive by kindness, patience, and the courage to speak truth before the silence between you becomes too heavy to cross.